Are there any pieces of equipment you regret buying? Interesting question. And yeah, there's not, look, I don't regret buying any piece of equipment. What ends up happening is you buy a piece of equipment, and then a new piece of equipment comes out that's a little bit more advanced, sounds a bit better, and it gets swapped out. But at no point do I don't feel like I regret buying it when it comes to all this kind of high-end gear. For instance, prime example, SPL PQ that's over there. The West Audio NG Tube EQ comes out. That has replaced the SPL PQ. I don't regret buying it. I've had it 5 years or so, and it's a brilliant EQ. I'm not selling it. It's going into the third studio. I don't. For that reason, I don't ever regret buying any of these pieces of equipment. Just new equipment comes out that's that little bit better, a little bit more flexible. I mean, this as a prime example, the West Audio NG Tube EQ. It's got digital recall, so it recalls via a plug-in. It's very advanced. It sounds great, and the truth be told, that has directly replaced the PQ, and that's not because the PQ is no good. That just will always get used, and the PQ won't get used as much. So I don't regret buying the PQ. It's a brilliant EQ. It's just now going into another studio. There are, however, pieces of equipment that I do regret buying, and the main ones being Universal Audio. I regret buying the UAD Apollo interface for Windows, and I regret buying that because now I'm using Macs. It becomes a brick. It can't be used because it doesn't connect to a Mac. So I regret buying something that is specific to a operating system. And that's the thing with the UAD gear is, you either buy it for Mac, you buy it for Windows. If you change operating system, you can't use it, kind of thing. So I do regret in some ways buying the UAD Windows version. I wish I'd have bought now the Mac version, because I'd be able to use it now, which I have had to. I've bought the Arrow basically the reason I bought the wanted a UAD interface is for the mic pre's. They're not particularly good mic pre's, but I have all the emulations for the mic pre's, so I just want that option of being able to track through those mic pre's. Yeah, and I've had to kind of the Windows version just sits in the cupboard at the moment, because it can't be used because we don't use Windows computers anymore. We've got all Macs here now, so those sorts of things I do regret. But then at the same time, I needed that piece of equipment because when I was on Windows, so I don't technically regret it. Another one that's UAD related that I do regret buying was the DSP chips. I regret buying them now. So the DSP in the PCIe cards. Now the problem you've got now is, the PCIe cards, I used to have a Windows Tower and I used to plug them in. Now we've got the Mac Studios. You can't just plug them in as you normally would. So the PCIe cards I regret buying now. I don't regret buying them back when the PCIe cards were a very, very usable thing. At the moment, how I use the PCIe cards, I use a PCIe chassis that's then connected to the Mac Studio. So yeah, I mean, look, the whole thing, the easiest way for me to answer this question of do I regret buying anything is I regret it much later down the line. I don't regret it at the time of buying it, and it's more because of compatibility that makes me regret something. In 10, 15 years, I'll probably have regretted buying the Avid S4 because it probably won't be compatible. So I'm like, I'll have regret at that point. But then again, what will end up happening, a new version will come out and I'll buy that version. And then the older version just becomes pretty much obsolete. And what to bear in mind in these sorts of situations in terms of regret of buying something is you've had 10 years of good use out of it. So to answer the question, I don't really necessarily regret buying anything. It becomes regret later down the line once something better comes out.